Welcome back to another episode of Think Like a Brand. As you can see, if you're watching this on our YouTube video, I am definitely not in my normal studio. I'm actually over the other side of the world and I'm in Florida and I am doing the podcast series from here. And when me and my EA were talking and we were thinking, shall I do it back in London or shall I just do it in Florida whilst I'm here? And we were like, you know what? Do it in Florida because this is my life. And as you're going to see over this podcast, sometimes I'm going to be in the studio in London, sometimes I'm going to be in Florida, sometimes I'm going to be somewhere else around the world. And thank God that this incredible hotel actually has a podcast studio within it. And so even if the sound might sound a little bit off, the lighting's not as professional, we've still got this bougie ass sofa, the pillows, the lights, everything. And when have you last gone to a hotel and there's a podcast studio within it? And so before I get into this episode, which is just going to be the takeaway of the Freedom Queen live trip and everything that I've gone through, I just want to start off by saying I should be in the UK right now. However, it got to Wednesday and I looked and I was like, I am not ready to go home. There's no way I'm going home. I'm ready to stay. I've got more integrations to make. The weather was so bad at home. It was pouring with rain. It was just not very good. And I was sitting there and I was thinking, shall I just see how much the flights are to change and how much more the hotel is to stay at? And then before you know it, I moved everything and I stayed for 3 days later. I'm on my own at this point. Yesterday I spent it at the beach. Today I've spent it walking around shopping. The day before I spent it working. And there's nothing like spending some time on your own to fully just listen to your heart, to listen to what is coming up, listen to the downloads that are coming through from God or whatever you believe in, and actually just changing your entire life. And so that's where I'm at right now. I'm still in Florida. I fly home tomorrow. I'm in the podcast studio. I'm going to just be so raw and honest with you what I've experienced over the last 2 weeks of being in this country. Because I uploaded a post 2 weeks ago today and it said, farewell to this version of me because she's not coming to the next chapter. And I truly meant that. And actually, when I looked back at it, I realised how true that was, because when I wrote that post 2 weeks ago, I was sitting in a restaurant at the time and there were so many things that I know I needed to let go of, and I did. And as I stepped into Freedom Queen Live and I was around absolute incredible women, it made me realise so much, which is what I'm going to speak about in this podcast episode. But it made me realise that what got me to where I got was not going to get me to where I want to go. And so just by seeing the content that I was going to upload, the past versions of me, everything, I've realised that she's no longer. She's gone, baby. And we are now ready to rise more than I ever have done before. So I'm excited because, as you can see here, I've got the Freedom Queen Live journal that I've been writing like an absolute maniac in over the last couple of days. And I'm just going to share with you just everything that I have generally gone through during this event so that you can just feel like you were there with me. You can just take away what I've taken away. I'm just going to be completely honest with you guys, and I'm sure that you are going to walk away from this podcast episode just thinking, wow, I need to be at that event next year, or I need to be around people that just make me dream 10 times bigger. Or actually, even if I probably share one of these notes from this big book of mine, your life's about to change. And so let's just get into it, shall we? So as you can see, you might not be able to see if you are listening to this on Spotify and Apple. At the front of my book, it says, where are my disruptors and who is ready to rise? Because the number one thing that I have taken away from this entire trip is that London needs this sort of energy. We don't have this in London, and I'm going to be the person that's going to bring this to London, because I have this huge vision that all of you guys are going to be in this room, this bougie ass hotel in London with me, and then we're going to be rising to our next level. We're going to be disrupting. We're going to have tops on. Like, I've got it in my head and I'm going to make it happen. So mark my word. What's the date today? 30th of November, I think, 31st, whatever the date is today. Mark my word that we're going to have an event in London. You are all going to disrupt the industry once you come out of that event, and you're all going to rise to your next level. So that's the first thing that I've got in my book. As I move on, it was all about when I first stepped into that event. So it was the Thursday night, we had like a mixer event, and I was so nervous because I flew out on the Wednesday and I spent time with Jojo, just like chilling, just like really taking everything in. Jojo and I had never met before. We'd just been speaking in the DMs like non-stop. And what I realized is that if you're surrounding yourself with people who just don't really get you, you need to go and surround yourself with people who do get you. And so the minute Jojo and I met each other, we just connected so well. We went into this incredible Airbnb that I got for us, and that was it. We spoke and spoke and spoke and spoke and spoke. We had some like incredible times. We laughed so much. We danced with celery sticks in our hand. We just had such a laugh. And I don't know if you can hear the music, but not gonna lie, this hotel is absolutely on one. Like, they're dancing out there. It's like the day after Thanksgiving. I think it's a bank holiday. There's noise going on, but just bear with me. Okay, so as Jojo and I met, we just had such a great time. And I said to Jojo, isn't it mad that the people that we get to talk to online every single day, we're about to like actually go and meet them in person? And so when I found out that, and it just felt really weird because I said it, it's like, I feel like sometimes we're sim characters, and sometimes with sim characters it's like we're not real, but then when we get to meet each other in person, I'm like, oh, you're actually a real person. You have legs, you have arms, you're actually a real ass human being. And I was like, it's just so mad that we're actually about to meet each other and other people, our mentors, in person. It just freaked me out a little bit. And so Thursday night came, we moved to the Vinoy. It was the most beautiful hotel, such an incredible hotel. Some like person out there is playing some game with big heavy balls. So if you're hearing the banging, I don't think I can go and tell them to stop because it's their bank holiday, but I'm sorry if this, like, the noise is not how it should be, but just roll with it. And so we got to the Vinoy, we got dressed up. I wore like this glittery suit. I was so nervous. And then we walked down the stairs and there was like 4 of us UK girls and we were strutting our stuff. And the minute I got into that hotel, I was like, next level version of Remi. I was like, wow, this is fun. You get to strut your stuff, you get to walk, you get to feel confident, you get to just own your shit, and like everyone knows who you are. Everyone's coming up to you and saying like, oh, you're the girl with the lilac. By the way, that is the power of branding, that people actually start to recognize you to a color. And I was like, this is incredible. And so I got into the main mixer room and everyone was just collecting their badges and everyone was just so happy, and like the dance started and the music was starting and the speeches were starting. And I just saw like one of my mentors, Demi, and I was like, wow, like, hi. We chatted for ages. And then I was speaking to just so many people that I've done lives with. I've been speaking in the DMs with, like, all of these people I just started speaking with. And I was like, wow, this is so much fun. And immediately when I was speaking to them, I was like, you are a normal human being. And I said this to quite a few people. And if you're listening to this and I said this to you, don't think I'm that weird, but I was like, wow, you've got legs. You're a normal human being. Like, there's nothing different about you than there is to me, because you're a human being. You've not come from planet whatsoever that I think you have. And in our world, I think in this coaching world, sometimes we think, oh, you've got gifted because you're from this planet and I'm from this planet, so we can't get what you've got. Whereas actually what I've realized is that they're normal human beings, they're normal people, come from the normal background that I have. The only difference between them and me is that either 1, they do something slightly different, 2, they've been in this space slightly longer, or 3, they just own their shit 10 times bigger. And I was like, actually, that is it. Like, that is it. And as I was talking to them, what happened in that night was, I can do this more than I ever thought I could. But also what happened in that night is I had been playing 3 times smaller than I think I should have been playing. I should have been playing so much bigger. And when I was talking to some people, I was like, wow, you are making me realize what's possible on the other side of this fear mindset that I was in right then. Can you hear the music? I'm literally like, But honestly, I don't know how this podcast episode's going to come out because this is like full on DJ vibes out there. But I hope this is working and it's the best we've got. So let's go with it. But yeah, and I was realizing that they're just normal human beings. And actually, if they can do it, I can do it. And in that moment, I was realizing that I think sometimes with this industry. It's kind of, we haven't got what they've got, or we haven't got what it takes, and all these things that our mind keeps telling us is just absolute bullshit. Because when you're with someone like literally centimeters away and you're talking to them, what you realize is that all you need to do is own who you are, become very well known with what you do, non-stop sell what you're already good at, and just do it over and over and over again until literally you're like great at what you do, you're very well known online. But it's also like you move very, very fast. You cannot keep going at pedal stall kids pace. You have to move fast. You have to go with it. You have to just wake up every day, put yourself in the zone of sell, but also I'm so great at what I do, nothing's going to stop me. Whatever comes my way I can handle, and I'm going to keep moving. That energy versus, oh, no one's buying from me, oh, what we all tell ourselves. And I've been in that, and that was it in that moment that I've realised they can do it, I can do it. She's got where she's got to, I can get where she's got to. And not even like I'm going to copy you. It's actually what I realised in that moment, which I'm going to touch on now, is that there was many people at that event, and they all do similar things. They're all teaching similar stuff, business coaching, mindset coaching, like every single thing. Everyone's teaching you something very similar. And as I was talking to other people about this, what we all started realizing is that even though we're teaching similar things, actually what you're selling someone on is your story, your personality, your unique framework, your way of getting them there, your way of seeing a human like in a way that no one else can see the human, and actually non-stop just going with that over and over and over and over again until you get to a place where people want to buy from you because of your story, because of the way that you teach them, because of the way that you articulate the way that you want to teach them, because of the way that you do things. Because what I realized by talking to a lot of these different coaches is that, yeah, cool, all the mindset people are teaching similar stuff, all the business mentors are teaching similar stuff. Yes, I could see gaps between all of them, and the gap that I saw was like, no one's actually teaching you branding. Like, I know I can teach you branding, that's another episode. However, what I then saw is what is making people buy from that person and that person and that person. It is their personality. It's their story that they walked on that stage and told. It's the way that they talk to clients. It's the way they are offline. It's their energy when you speak to them in person. And online, what I've realized is that just because you see a person a certain way online does not mean they're that person in person. And so what I say by this is like, you have to fully be yourself offline as much as you are online, because when someone meets you offline, that same personality should be a match to the personality that you're showing online. And this is where I've started to realize is that I'm laughing so much at this music. I don't even know if you can hear this. Until I listen to this back, I don't even know if you can hear this, but it's like a full-on party outside. But yeah, what I've realised is that no one has your personality. No one had my personality. And I'm not saying my personality was like better than anyone else's at all. But what I'd realised is that no one dressed like I dressed. No one spoke like I spoke. No one had my approach to things. No one was like as weird as I was. However, I wasn't like that person. I wasn't like that person. She had her opinions on that. She had her opinions on that. Some people would look at me dressed in lilac with like these big puffy arms and they'll think, what the fuck is she wearing? I might look at someone else and think, you're so dull. It's okay. It's all about who you are, how much you can stay within the way that you dress, the way that your personality is, the way that your story is told, the way that you show up as you. All of that, and how you can show that off online unapologetically, and how you can show that off in person unapologetically. So many people came up to me and they're like, your energy, I love it. I love your energy. You're so confident. Like, I could sit and talk to you all night. And what I realized in that moment is that the people that are like at this place that we all put on our pedestals, they're fucking fantastic. Like, let's be honest. Like, I would never ever sit there and be like, yeah, you're blah, blah, blah. They're great. In order for them to get to like 50k months, 100k months, can we take a second to actually realize how incredible that is and what they've had to overcome to get there? So I'm never going to sit there and go like, oh, they're nothing special. What I am going to sit there and say though is that you can all get to that same place if you stay so grounded in your personality, if you realize that you are so cool, you're so confident, you're so everything that you need to be right now, and it's about you owning that online as much as you are owning that offline. Because at the end of the day, we are marketing our personality, And it's about how you can market that personality online, because something that I've really seen is that just because someone's marketing their personality online very, very well does not mean that they're that same person offline. And if someone's incredibly talented at marketing their personality and their offers, it doesn't mean that they're that same person offline. And not saying this in a bad way, but what I'm saying is that how much can you lean into your heart and soul offline, become the most creative, authentic, huge version of yourself, and then when you meet people, they say to you one thing: you are the exact same person offline that you are online, and the magnetic energy that I feel from you now I'm in person with you is the same magnetic energy I feel when I'm online with you. And it doesn't have to mean just when you go to these in-person events, but what I mean by this is like what it means to them when they come on Zoom with you, when they work on you one-to-one, when they see you off social media. The same energy you're bringing to your Zoom calls and your one-to-one calls, are you bringing that same energy into your social media? If there's a disconnect, that's where people don't really get your energy, and I think there's a lot of trust that goes away when they're seeing two different like types of energy. And so that's one thing I've learned, is that be the person you are offline versus online. Fill your own cup up online versus offline, and to show up so boldly, because all these people that we put up here, they're nothing different to anyone else. Nothing at all. And even on the last night, I know I'm sort of future pacing right now and missing the whole entire event, but on the last night, Ali, who was the MC at the event, she basically announced her book, which was incredible. And she said to me, because all the other girls were going home, she like really kindly said to me, why don't you come to my room? I'm having a bit of a party. I'm getting a DJ in. All the speakers are going to be there. And immediately I was like, I shouldn't be in that room. Like, I wasn't a speaker. And then I was like, Remi, grow the fuck up. Because there's no reason why they can be there and you can't. And there's no reason why your mind has to tell you that right now you're going to feel X, Y, and Z. And so plucked up the courage. I went into the room. And the minute I got into that room, everyone was so kind. Everyone was so nice. Like, Bridget was there. Her partner was there. The girls there from the mastermind. The speakers, like some other girls. And I was like, everyone just made you feel so welcome, feel so seen. I was talking to them about loads of different topics. I never, ever felt like I shouldn't be there. And that was such an eye-opener for me, to be like, I'm just like everyone else. I'm literally just like everyone else. It's just these girls. What I realised in all of them, the ones that had like achieved this incredible result, what I realised in all of them is that their attitude to the way that they move was all very similar. And that attitude was, don't hold back, don't overthink it, go and make the move, go and make the action, and literally just go. And so there was different ideas that I was just like running around with them, and they were like, well, why are you waiting? Go and do it now. And it's that attitude of go and do it now. And when I was talking to them, they were all very positive. They didn't go home and like sit and feel sad for themselves. And yeah, life happens, but they were all like, get up and go and go and go. And fear wasn't a thing. The way that they moved, the way that they hold themselves, the way that they like spoke wasn't this tiny version, it was their best version of themselves. And it's that mental state that they put themselves in that got them to where they got to. Obviously there's more to it, but that's what I realized in each and every one of them. It's their attitude and how positive they were. It was their way that they could feel just so fearless and just go for it no matter what. It was how quickly they moved, and also how much each of them knew that there was the one within their own skin. It wasn't a comparison. That's what I love. People in this industry, I think that like, I don't know, she's a bitch to you, like she's gonna hate you, blah blah blah. It's so wrong. Everyone in that room at that event wanted you to win more than anyone else I've ever come across. Everyone put you on the pedestal. Everyone was like, woohoo, look at her go. That's the attitude. And so in that room, I realised that everyone's got what it takes. Everyone is already the version of themselves that they need to be. It's just about how much you own it. And if you lean more into this more than you ever have done before, your entire life's about to change. And so coming back just to like touch on what I've got in this special black book of mine, each day was really, really good. And because there was so many different speakers on like different days, there was a real mix of just like strategy, mindset, listening to your intuition. And I've got a goal here, and it says, my goal is to take over the world with disruptive brands and make women take over the world by being so creative within their own skin. I want them to feel so themselves, and I want to feel so myself that no one cares about who they are, because within their own skin, they know that they've got whatever it takes to make it to the top. And that's just like a goal that I wrote. And then as I'm going to just literally read out this diary. I feel like I'm reading you like my Mean Girls diary. What we spoke about on the first day is the resistance means power. So when you're feeling resistance, that's a great sign, because it means that you've got to go and take moves, and like take big, bold, courageous moves off that feeling. And this is where I see a lot of people either fall flat on their face or actually go and make this like £1 million business. It's where you're met with resistance. So like, here's resistance, here's you. Are you going to meet it? Or are you going to basically be like, no, bitch, like, I don't want you anymore. I'm scared of you. You win. It's kind of like a fight between who's going to be the bigger person, the resistance or you. If you choose to be the bigger person versus the resistance, you're always going to win. And so every time you feel this resistance to do something, whether it's to invest in yourself, whether it's to go and post that post, whether it's to go and meet that friend, whatever it is that makes you feel a bit like, should I do it? Should I not? Go and do it. Because on the other side of that, you're either going to learn the lesson that not to do it again, or you're going to be like, wow, it's incredible, I can do more. And it's about holding more and doing more. What else I've got here? If you lose yourself, you lose everything. How powerful is that? If you lose yourself, you lose everything. And I love that, because if you lose yourself during this like fight to the top, you're actually going to lose everything around you. And one of the main things I've realized during this journey is that, like, this music is something else, but what I've realized is that generally, if you lose yourself in terms of like your heart, your soul, your creativity, your story, if you become like in the shell version of yourself, you lose everything else around you. And even when you get a win, even when you sign a client, even when the best of things happens to you, it means absolutely fuck all. Because what I've realised is that at the end of the day, you wake up every day and just feel so ecstatic and like high on life, and nothing can get in your way, and you've got yourself, every single thing else is just a bonus to that feeling. However, if you lose yourself along the way, it's so true, you do lose everything. And I think that's such a big part here. And as Bridge came on, she was talking about like your mission and your message. And what I loved here is when Bridge said about with your message, a generalist versus a specialist. And she called it a pawn versus the queen. Pawn? Prawn? Prawn. It's definitely not prawn. Pawn. Why does that sound? Pawn. Whatever it is. Why does that word look so weird as I wrote it down? What she was basically saying is the pawn. It is a pawn. It just sounds really weird. A pawn is the generalist. She's vague. She looks like other people. Many of the people online look like this. She can't go for too long like owning her own voice because she gets scared. She finds it hard to win. And she's like a regular coach in business versus the queen, who's a specialist. She stands out. She's fast. It's easy for her to win. She's very influential. She's an influential leader. And that really, really, really hit home to me, because I was like, I wrote here, if you cannot be the pawn if you want to blow up. You have to be the queen, and you have to build a brand around that queen vibes in order for you to actually go to the top. And this is why I'm so obsessed with brand, more than I ever have done. And I've walked away from that trip being like, I am going to turn so many women into the most disruptive brands on the internet, because I spoke to hundreds of people at that event and they are incredible. But do you know what they all lack? Not all of them, that's a bit harsh, but you know what a handful of them lack? Is that they don't have a well-known brand that they're known for, with colours that people recognise them for, the like stories, personality traits, brand identities, like the entire thing that makes up a brand. That's what I've realised, is that all of these people are lacking. And if they actually lent so far into owning their brand and didn't shut up about it, they would become superstars. They would get so well known that when they get to go up on that stage and speak, people know them before they even say a word, because of their brand, because of the way that their brand is making their audience feel. And so that's just a side note in there. So moving on. We then spoke about like our 2027 goal versus our 2024 goal that we're in now. And something that was really good with one of the speakers, I can't remember who said this, but what was really good is, let's say in 2027, if you want to make, I don't know, £500,000 in that year, you have to work backwards and go, okay, what offers do you need to be selling at what prices in order to hit that? And how many people in each offer do you need to be attracting in order to hit that? And then when you added up all the numbers, you broke that down into quarters, broke that down into months, realised how many people you need to be bringing in each month. There's either going to be a massive shock to you, or it's going to be like, wow, I can so do this. And that was what I realised, is that so many people say, let's say I want the £1 million business, but £1 million is a lot of money. However, it doesn't have to be a lot of money if you've got the right offers, if you've got the volume of people coming in, and if like you're selling at the price that you should be selling at. Even if you want to hit your first 10k a month like goal, let's say that's your goal, do you have the offers right now that can get you to that? And do you have the amount of people? Because you could just sell 10 1k packages and that's 10k. That's easily done. You could just sell 2 5k packages and that's 10k. Like, do you have a 5k package right now? If not, you're going to have to fill lots and lots and lots and lots of seats on lots and lots of bums on seats in order for you to get to the 10k. So sometimes I think like our pricing is so way off to the goal that we want to hit. And actually, when you break it down to how many people over the year do you need, how many people over a quarter do you need, and how many people over a month you need, you realise that it's actually so doable. Okay, then we spoke about media. Media is magnetic, and this is so true, because you have to infuse what you're great at into timeless content. And Bridge said this, and I love when she said timeless content, because timeless content is content that never goes away. Obviously, that's the word, timeless. But what I've realised is that timeless content is something that people don't speak about a lot. Like, timeless content is creative, it's out of the box, it's one of a kind. It's content that generally puts your heart and soul into the creativity that your content should be having. And I see a lot of you right now not having that. Your reels are sounding like everyone else's. Your carousels are boring as fuck. Like, everything's sounding the same, looking the same. And so no wonder you're not getting chosen. When you actually learn to make your content so creative, one of a kind, like how Gucci do these huge stunts, when Nike do these like massive PR stunts, that's the sort of content that we need you to have, okay? So go and do that sort of content. I'm sort of going to like rush ahead here because I don't want to take up all your time. But I'm just trying to think. Delegation was a big one as well. So are you delegating in a way that you need to be delegating, or are you trying to wear all the hats and do everything at once? There was also this sort of like, you should delegate, but you shouldn't delegate. And my opinion on this, since I've got my EA in, is that delegation is actually a great thing, because there's no way that I can do everything. And when I tried to do everything, I just got massively overwhelmed. I've just realised I've got this ugly ass hairband on my wrist, so just ignore that. What I've realised is that, like, yeah, I got so overwhelmed, burnt out. I think I've got ADHD. I'm not sure. I'm not taken away from anyone that actually has been diagnosed with ADHD. I'm sending you so much love. But what I've realised is that my brain can't do a lot of things at once, and I get very overwhelmed very quickly, and then it starts to go into procrastination. And so since Nina's come on board, she saved my life in so many ways by actually me being able to delegate a lot of stuff out so that I can scale my business but also take on more without burning myself out. So that's like a big thing. Something I've got here is, you're in your own fucking way. Generally, I wrote that down, I put a square around the box, the word, sorry, because you are in your own way. If you get out of your own fucking way and you actually realise that you can get to all these different places, but you're in your own way, you're going to get to that place. Right now, the only things that is blocking you is you being in your own way. Like, period. End of. I could end this podcast episode right here if I wanted to, because you're the only one that's waking up and telling yourself that you're not good enough. You're the only one waking up and telling yourself, because no one bought when you were asleep, that means you're a failure. You're the only one waking up telling yourself that you can't go and create that content that's spicy because so-and-so might hate you for it. You're the only one in your own way telling yourself that you can't invest in X, Y, and Z because you're scared. Like, honestly, you're in your own way. And when you get out your own way and you realize that you have a choice when you wake up to go and do something bold, courageous and out of the box, or you can play it safe and stay in your comfort zone, everything's going to change. You have the two different paths to take. I've just invested into a mastermind, and it's the most amount of money I've ever spent in my life. And when I made that investment, I nearly wanted to faint. But also I know that I've made that investment from a place of, I know where I want to get to, and I know that I need the help in a certain way to get me there, and there's nothing going to get in my own way to stop me from getting to where I want to get to. So it's come to a point now after 4.5 years that I'm ready to make this investment, because I know the help that I need with the right mentor to get me to that place that I want to go to. And it did take me a while to like process this, and I came back down to my heart and soul, and what was it telling me? And my intuition was telling me that you're always going to go to where you're going to get to. You're always going to rise, and you need to just learn from someone that's already done it so that you can learn from them. And so you need to get yourself in your driver's seat, and you need to take over the world. And it's also about your belief system. And I wrote this here. It's like, what do you need to believe about yourself right now, every single day, in order for you to get to your next level? Maybe that's 5K, 10K, maybe it's to leave your job, maybe it's to get to your first 100K year, maybe it's to get to your multiple six-figure year. Whatever it is, what beliefs are you holding on to right now that you need to fucking let go of? And I'm swearing a lot because I'm so passionate about this, because this is what's changed a lot in me this weekend, is that the beliefs that I was holding on to when I came to America, no wonder I was not getting to where I wanted to get to. And now I've got this in the book and I've processed this. I actually laugh, cry. I don't know what I want to do. Is that I don't know. I'm like, no, it's not. I was like, is that a tear or is that a laugh? I don't know. Everything. I literally believed a couple of years ago that I could never get to where I wanted to get to, because there are so many different moving parts about me that I felt like no one would want to buy into. And I was like, because I'm not at that level, no one would want to invest in me, because why would they invest in me when they would want to invest into her up there? And because I'm like a massive perfectionist, I felt like that slowed me down in certain ways. And I had so many beliefs around like people not liking that, people wanting someone that wasn't a perfectionist, like all this sort of stuff. And because those beliefs were telling me the same limiting beliefs every day, it was slowing me down. And so when I came up with an idea and had these downloads, and something that a lot of the people at this event spoke about is that if you believe in God so much, or whoever you believe in, you are having these downloads because you're supposed to have these downloads. You are having the downloads because you've been put on this earth to have these downloads, and you can either act upon that download and actually go and create something incredible, or you can not listen to that download and push it to the side and go and let someone else have that download and have them move faster on that download and go and create an incredible amount of impact off the back of it. And so what I realized is that there's many downloads I've been having for years that I didn't have the belief system to match them, and so I didn't actually take the action to go and actually execute on them, to go and make the impact that I was supposed to be making because of my belief system. And something that I had here is like, I need to believe that me being so creative is actually the thing that sets me apart from everyone else. And so many of you right now are listening to this, and I know that you've all got beliefs about you that you've probably silenced, you've probably muted, you've probably chosen not to believe. They could be great beliefs in terms of who you are and what you're meant to do on this earth, or they could be bad beliefs in terms of I'm not like this, I shouldn't be, all the bad things. And in order for you to get to your next income level, let's say what you're at right now, put on another 30k on that monthly income. In order for you to get to there, what beliefs do you have to let go of? Because those beliefs are the thing that you're waking up every day and they're stopping you from making the big, bold, courageous moves that you should be making. Okay, I'm so passionate about that. Next one. Okay, ready? What has been working at this level will not get you to your next level. And I've also circled that. You can't really see, but I've circled that. And it's so true. Like, what has been working to get you to where you're getting to, which is fantastic. Well done, because you wouldn't be listening to this if you wasn't like highly influential and just a fucking great person. But also, what's got you to here will not get you to where you're heading. And if you're serious about heading to where you wanted to be getting, you need to make some big, bold, scary, big girl moves. And to me, like, that looked like investing in that mastermind. For me, that looked like letting a lot of people go from my life that I knew were slowing me down. To me, that looked like really, really, really protecting my time and not wasting it on people and places that I should not be wasting it. That looked like, for me, leaning in so far to my brand and what made me me and muting everyone else around me. I swear to God, this music's getting louder and louder. But I can't be the person to go and ruin these Americans like Thanksgiving bank holiday and tell them, can you please turn the music down because I'm because I'm filming a podcast for like Think Like a Brand. Anyway, so yeah, honestly, you really, really, really have to think about what's got you here will not get you to where you're heading to, and you need to all turn up the volume on what you're capable of achieving like 10,000 times more. Okay, moving on. I'm just sort of like picking out the main bits. If you fear challenge, you're going to have a problem. Because when you fear challenge, you're going to actually run away from every single thing that comes your way that makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable. And what I've realised, especially by being in that room on the last night, is that none of these people fear challenge. They welcome in challenge, because when a challenge comes up, they are like, let's go, let's welcome it, let's be friends with it, let's make love to it, let's just be like the besties with challenge, because challenge is what's going to get them to the next level. And that's a huge thing, because I know many of you listening to this, every time something scary comes up, like, should I do the live? Should I go on the podcast? Should I go and invest in that person? Should I create that content? All this stuff. Make love with the challenge. And when you make love with it, you're going to become in love with it. And so you are going to welcome in it. And can you imagine if you actually love challenges, that every time a challenge comes, you're like, yeah, bring it, bitch. Within 6 months to 12 months, can you just imagine the person that you're going to be? Okay, next. I can't really read any of this because it's literally like squiggles, but I'm just sort of reading it. If you can't hold hate and fear, how can you hold money? This is from Stephanie Swell. Love her so much. I've seen her absolutely like skyrocket over the last couple of months. I've got so much time for that girl. But I love when she said this. If you can't hold hate and fear, how the fuck can you hold money? Seriously, if you want to be making 10k, 20k, 30k, whatever you want to be making, if you can't hold that money because you're so worried about so-and-so down the road saying something about you, so-and-so saying like, oh, I don't like the way you do that, or family members saying, should you really be talking about money online, friends saying, oh, I don't really like that you're part of X, Y, and Z pyramid scheme. If you can't hold these comments, how can you hold that amount of money? That's a big mic drop to a lot of people. It was a big mic drop to me, because I was like, right, in order for me to hold hundreds of people, for me to be putting on this event that I want to be putting on, for me to be creating my own mastermind and building Rise to the place I want to get it to, that will have to involve me holding a lot of hate, comments, like people's opinions, which is fine, I welcome it, but it has to not rock me. The minute it rocks you, the minute you're broken, and so don't let it rock you. Okay, moving on. What part of your brand is not who you are? That's a big one. What part of your brand right now is not who you want to be? Is it your messaging? Is it that your visuals aren't doing the things that it should be doing? Is it that you don't want to say certain things because you're worried about hate? Is it that your offers, just like you're bored of them? Is it that no one even knows about your brand because you've never done any work on your brand and you've just built a boring ass coaching business but not a brand? AKA, come and hire me. But honestly, people want depth. People want to be moved. And people want you to go deep with them. People are so fucking bored of having just so-and-so call themselves another business and mindset coach and teach you the same stuff and say the same things with the same visuals that everyone else has online. And I hold my hands up and say that I've fallen into this trap before, but I also know that I've caught myself in that trap and I've moved myself out of that trap. And if creativity isn't your like go-to number one thing, that's fine, but just be so conscious of, are you starting to sound like everyone else? And if you are, great, you're aware of it now, do something about it. Do something to make your content more creative. Do something to make your brand so far apart from anyone else's. Do something that tells your story, because if you're finding yourself becoming more of that generalist right now, it's because you're not leaning into your story how you should be. It's because you're not actually fully leaning in to what makes you you. Someone can copy your offers, someone can copy X, Y, and Z about you. They can never copy your story, and they can never copy the way that you creatively sell and market that story of yours. So please lean into telling your story, lean into building a brand around your story, and learn to market that, because that's what's going to always set you apart, because no one has ever lived your story like you have lived it. So if you're thinking, I am so boring online right now, your audience are also finding you very boring online right now, but it's great because you've got the awareness, you're going to do something about it. So what makes up a good brand is you becoming known for something, is the way that you do it, is when someone thinks of you and your story, and it's what they can't stop thinking about. Okay, moving on. Alex said this. Love Alex. The net that is going to keep us safe is going to keep us stuck. What a comment. So true. If right now you're only operating in this like, oh, this net that it's making me feel comfortable, it's making me feel like I can just stay in my little like onesie hoodie blanket every day. Comfortable is never going to make you successful. End of. Comfortable means okay and cute. Comfortable doesn't mean I'm here, bitches. I'm about to change your life. No one's going to get in my way. I'm going to make you feel like the next level version of yourself. I'm going to change your life, and no one's going to stop me as I rise to the top. There's a difference between the two, and I love when Alex said this. The net that's going to keep you safe is going to keep you stuck, because it's so true. You're never, like, safety is just boring. Your audience are bored of safety. You want to be like the most courageous, outrageous, disruptive human being that's ever walked onto social media. Doing that is going to make you notice very, very, very quickly. Okay, I'm just going to rush past these because there's a lot. Okay, and then, this is such a funny talk. Shoshana Raven came on the stage, and that woman is, like, absolutely incredible. She came on with this incredible, sparkly outfit, and she just took over that audience, and she was in the audience, she was dancing, and immediately everyone in that room could connect to her energy. And I absolutely loved how she is the like scattiest, most herself person I've ever met, and she was making more money than anyone on that stage. And it wasn't like a who's making more money, it was more of the fact of, it's just a testament to you get to be your wholeheartedly like true authentic self, and you can get to wherever you want to get to. And I spoke to her after, and I saw her in the lobby, and I said, like, thank you for giving everyone that permission slip to just be themselves and just like be so in your flow and fun, and people get to buy into that. And so the notes that I made of her was the energy of joy, do the scary thing every single day, success is measured by our own, and that you have to be afraid of finally owning the truth of who you are, because that is what people will buy into. And I love when she said they see themselves in you. Your ideal clients will always see themselves in you, and every time you face fear, it's a great thing, because you just get to become lighter when you own that. And so it's about being alive, true and real in the moment. And she said she wakes up every day and she says, have I done something that scares me? Brilliant. Have you woke up every single day for the last 6 months of your life and said, I've done something today that has really, really fucking scared me? Because I think that's a huge thing. And then moving on to Robbie, shout out Bridget, who got engaged on the stage. Like, she got proposed to on a stage with a huge diamond, like at a diamond themed event, her event. Mad. But what I loved about Robbie is just one thing where he said, it wasn't just one thing, but as many, but what I loved about Robbie when he said, make decisions on what you are believing. So it's like beliefs, actions, experiences. So it's beliefs, action, experiences. And if you take away experiences, you're just going on beliefs and actions. And he said, what does God believe about me? So if, let's say, you have a belief, you're going to then act upon that belief. Then you're going to make it into experience. But if you take away the experience, when you have a belief, you're just going to act on it, but then it doesn't become an experience. It just goes like, fades away. And what I liked about that is that you get to really, really think about when you have this belief, you get to actually take it away, and it doesn't have to become a belief. It just can become something that comes into your mind but pops right back out. And what he was also saying is, like, stop believing anything that doesn't serve you. So if you wake up every morning and you believe something, that's probably come from a past version of you. So in that moment, you get to choose to not believe it, which is a huge thing. I love that, because the past version of you is like, I love her, she's over there, I love you so much, but you're not going to get me to where I'm going to get to. And so I have to choose right now, like, what I want to choose to believe based on who I am right now and my future version of me. And in that moment, when everyone thinks about that, really think about, like, what are you choosing to believe and what are you choosing to let go of, and you have to stop playing so small. And then as I moved on to, like, the last day, I'm just going to rush past these. I know I keep saying that, but there's just so many great notes in this book. So day 3 is all about, like, really setting your visions. Leanne Lopez came on the stage. I feel like that is her name. Apologies if it's not. But she was incredible, and she really, really, really impacted a lot of the people in the audience. But she was getting us to write our vision. And I wrote here, for the women in my world to disrupt their entire world with their creativity, and for them to lean so far into their personality and to make £1 million business around that. My vision is to impact thousands, for them to rise in all areas of their life from the inside out, and for them to feel activated every single day that they wake up. And I really like the fact that this girl spoke about how much you can really lean into, like, choosing to be exceptional if you want to, and life is always going to life every single day. And something around this, actually, when I was on the beach yesterday, I was sitting there and I was thinking, wow, I've sat here all day. And when you think about life and you take a second to think about the 24 hours that we get, those 24 hours are going to keep happening every single day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And you get to choose whether you want to make that life something sensational, or whether you want to make that life something that's just repeatable, boring, and something that you don't even want to be part of. And so in that moment, really think about, like, how sensational and extraordinary can you make your life, because it's always going to do the same thing. The sun is always going to rise and the sun is always going to set. And in that moment and in those 24 hours, what do you want to make of that? Because I had to really think about this yesterday, and I was thinking that in 24 hours I could change a lot of people's lives, and when I play small, I'm not. And so what can I do to make sure that I'm impacting at least one person's life every single day? And for me, in that moment, I was like, wow, the sun is always going to rise and the sun is always going to set. So in that rising scene to the setting scene, what can I do to be most productive, to impact the most amount of lives in that given time? And it was just like a real eye-opener for me. And then on the last day, we were just talking about, like, a lot about, like, owning your voice, becoming like the wildfire. Challenge is the way, it's not in the way. And I love that when Courtney said that, because it was all about, like, challenge is actually the thing that we should bring into our life. Like, we should face fear, we should also face challenge in the face and say, like, hi bitch, I'm about to make, like, love to you, and I'm gonna welcome you in, because I'm not scared of you anymore. And then movement is born in your heart, not in your head. So make the best version of yourself when you wake up every single day. I'm going to say that again. Movement is born in your heart, not in your head. That's incredible, because it's so true. So share the lessons, teach people who to become, and think about, like, what does it look like to teach your audience what you want to teach them, and how can you show that off online in a way that's just absolutely huge, that people see you for and connect with you for. And then just coming to the end of this podcast episode now, because this is way longer than I thought it would be. What gets me off the path? Think about that. I want you to actually go and take some notes on this. What gets you off the path of becoming the most disruptive brand that you know that you can be on the internet? So is it daily habits? Is it people that you're surrounding yourself in? Is it relationships that you know you need to let go of? Is it friends that don't serve you anymore? Is it bad habits? Is it that you're going to bed too late, waking up too late? Is it the fact that you're just becoming lazy? Like, what is it that's getting you off your path? And then also think about what you are capable of and who you really are. And when you start to think of, right, that's putting me off my path, but this is who I really am and this is what I want so much, you'll start to realise that in this middle ground to what you need to let go of, what you really want, and then who do you have to become now, that middle ground is going to just like change your entire world. And then we basically went into the levels of how you can influence your audience, which I think is another episode. But at the end of the day, we had the award ceremony and I walked the stage to claim my award for 100k since working with Bridget. And as I got onto that stage, I looked at Bridget in the eye and she looked at me. And in that moment, I felt so many emotions. And it was crazy because a lot of the girls the whole weekend was just crying. And I'm not one to cry that much. But in that moment, two things made me want to cry that weekend. One was when I saw other people's parents there. And I was like, I do this for my parents. Like, a lot of for what I do is for my parents, to give them the life that like they might not have had, in order for when I have kids, so that my dad and my mum can actually just like retire and live in this huge house that I've paid for them and have their life and have everything that they could have ever wanted. And I get to say that I've done that for them. Like that, when I thought of that and I thought of them, like I really visioned that, that's what made me want to cry. And then the other thing was when I walked to that stage and I saw Bridget and we caught eyes with each other, I was sitting there thinking, this is just a start. I was like, the amount of things that I have gone through to get me onto that stage to claim that 100k award, half of me was like, this is just a start. Next year I'm walking on this stage and I'm actually claiming the next award, or I'm speaking on this stage. And also the other side of me was thinking, wow, if you actually all saw what went into this 100k award, it's mad. It's been hard, fucking hard. I've had the worst days of my life. I've had days where nothing made sense, when no one was buying, when like every single launch just wasn't going to plan. I've had days where every single launch was just flying off the shelf. I've had days where I had to scrap offers, where I've had to put offers back. I've had days where every single offer just like that I didn't think would do as well as it did do as well as it did, and better. I've had days where I've had like arguments, my friends, families, partners, and I had to carry on and like get up every single day. And someone said to me, one of my friends said to me at this event, what did she say? We're sitting and she said something in terms of like, you're incredible how you get up every day and you still sell and you still do this and you launch so much and you still like show up. And I said to her, why would you not? Because in that moment, let's say you've had a shitty day, you know what's going to make it shittier is when you don't get out of bed and go and sell something, or when you don't get out of bed and do what you've got to do. Because not only then do you have to deal with the shit that's going on in your life, you then have to deal with the shit that you've not done. So you might as well just make your life easier and actually just do the shit that like you have to do, and then just only deal with one problem versus two. And I said to her, I said, no one would ever take away from me the fact when I've gone through the hardest days, I've always still shown up, given it my best, gone out there with such a brave face, and always managed to rise to my next level. And no one will ever take that away from me. And that's what's given me the internal strength that when I walked across that stage and I looked out to the audience, honestly, I'm so thankful for me to get up every day and just carry on through the good, the bad, the brilliant. That's got me to here, but it's not what's going to get me to there. And it was just that moment of realisation. And I went outside and I was speaking to Bridget and I gave her this really special gift that my nan gave to me that I gave to her. And I sat there and I was talking to her. And when we were talking, I said to her, there's a version of me that you saw in me when I got on the first call with you. And it's taken me nearly 2 years to actually see this version of me. But after this weekend, I saw that version of me. And it was crazy that a lot of the girls that I went with, they were like, how does everyone know you? And I was like, it's great that everyone knew me, but I didn't know myself until this weekend. And that is one of the biggest takeaways that I will always have, is that the Vinoy will always hold such a special place in my heart, because there was a part of me that will always be left there for the rest of my life. And when Bridget said, I'm going to do the event there, I was like, you've got to do it there, because it's not just me. So many girls left their heart and soul and the past version of themselves in the rooms at the Vinoy, that when they get to return back to next year, they're going to be like faced with it. And it's incredible. And so as a summary, what that weekend made me realise is that I had to see the version of myself that all these people saw before I saw it. And it doesn't matter if your audience sees this version of you. If you don't fully embody that version of you and you don't wake up every day and see that version of you, it's never going to be sustainable, and it's never going to get to where you want to get to. And that weekend was just such a permission slip for me to just dress how I want, walk how I want. I had like glasses and a bun with a baggy shirt one day. The next day I was wearing this lilac leather dress. The next day I was in my lilac suit. And the amount of people that walked up to me and said, like, I love your creativity, the way that you dress. And I was just so fully in my element that I could just walk on that stage, and I could just walk and dance and strut my stuff and wear what I want and fully express myself. And that is where I started to see the version of me that a lot of us, I think, forget. And so my permission slip to you guys is, let yourself dress how you want to dress. Show up how you want to show up. Speak about the things that you want to speak about. Don't be afraid to be so scared of failing. Don't be afraid of not owning your voice, because your personality is always going to be the thing that sells you out and gets you to the £1 million goal. And I realise that now more than ever, is that I need to lean so much more into my personality. And I fell into the trap of not owning who I was online because of X, Y, and Z reason. And now I'm like, bitches, be ready, because no fucks are going to be given right now. I'm going to own who I am. I know what I've got to do. I know what makes me me. The right people want to hire me, the wrong people won't, and that is okay. And this is your permission slip to do the same, because that personality, that story, that creativity, that brand that you're going to build based off that attitude is going to get you to your next level. And it's definitely not going to come from you being so scared of owning who you are and like staying shy and staying scared and fearful and blah 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 blah. No, gone. She's gone. We're over here now. And so that was a sum up of my weekend. I then basically just chilled out, decompressed. I've been like at the beach eating dinner. I've just been spending time on my own, which by the way is a great thing to spend time of your own, because you get to listen to the thoughts that are going on in your head. I've read this thing over quite a lot. I'm now going to pop off for some pizza, and I hope you guys have liked this episode, and thank you for tuning in from Florida, baby.